the year 2000, Cammi Ng, a famous Hong Kong model at the peak of her career at just 22 years old, wore a lavish wedding gown worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, smiling radiantly as she walked down the aisle with Julian Hui, heir to the Wing On Group. That dreamlike wedding was seen as the opening chapter of a real-life fairy tale. The beauty, gifted with exceptional talent and outstanding academic achievements, even having been accepted to Oxford University, chose to sacrifice her flourishing modeling career and the chance to study at her dream school, devoting herself entirely to building a happy family. However, only a few years later, when Cammi Ng reappeared in public, the world was shocked. She looked gaunt and hollow-eyed, weighing barely 20 kilograms, 44 pounds, with most of her teeth gone, thinning hair, and walking with the aid of a cane. The stark contrast between her once dazzling past and her grim present raised the question: what had happened behind the closed doors of what seemed to be a perfect marriage? Today we'll explore the tragic chapters in the life of supermodel Cammi Ng, a story that sends shivers down the spine. Before we begin, don't forget to give our team a like and subscribe. Thank you for being with us. Cammi Ng was born in Hong Kong on May 9, 1978, into a well-established family. Her father was a respected pulmonologist at one of Hong Kong's top hospitals, while her mother came from an intellectual background. Although they were not considered high society, Cammi's family was financially well off. As their only daughter, she was pampered and cared for with special attention. From birth, Cammi received a precious family heirloom, a jadeite piece of jewelry, from her grandmother. Her parents were so protective that they didn't even allow her to stay on the second floor of their home, fearing she might get hurt. Despite being spoiled from a young age, Cammi was neither arrogant nor materialistic. On the contrary, she was known for her excellent academic performance, innocent and kind nature, and striking appearance, even in elementary school. With a delicate face, fair and smooth skin, a height of 1.75 meters, 5'9", and a weight of 47 kilograms, Cammi had a graceful figure with ideal proportions. Her gentle beauty attracted attention and opened the door to the entertainment industry. At the age of 16, while still in high school, Cammi was discovered by a talent scout and invited to become a model. Although intrigued, she didn't immediately accept, as her biggest dream was to be admitted to Oxford University and become a doctor like her parents. When she shared the opportunity with her family, her parents were both excited and concerned that modeling might interfere with her studies. After careful thought, they decided to support her choice, believing it was a chance for her to gain experience and challenge herself. They also assured her that they would always be her solid support, whether or not she succeeded as a model. Balancing her studies to prepare for Oxford's entrance exams with part-time modeling, Cammi appeared in numerous commercials and magazines. Thanks to her friendly and professional demeanor, ideal figure, and tireless effort, she quickly made a name for herself in the modeling world within just a year, becoming one of the industry's most promising new faces. Her fame brought many offers from brands and magazines. However, time was limited. Even with confidence in her abilities, her busy schedule inevitably affected her studies. As a result, in her first university entrance exam, Cammi failed to get into Oxford. Disappointed but undeterred, she believed this was only temporary and remained determined to conquer Oxford in the future. Recognizing her shortcomings in the previous attempt, Cammi began to review her lessons more seriously and systematically. She took advantage of every free moment, while commuting to photo shoots, during breaks, and before going to bed, to study. But just before turning 18, her seemingly perfect life was about to take a sharp turn. a fateful encounter would completely change the trajectory of her life. From bright and full of promise to one marked by tragedy and pain. Raised in a devout Christian family, Cammi was a devoted believer, maintaining the habit of attending church services every week despite her busy study and modeling schedule. At 18, after a Sunday service, she happened to meet Julian Hui, a man who claimed to be a fellow believer and said he was lost. Her kind nature compelled her to help without suspicion. What Cammi didn't know was that this was a calculated move by Julian Hui to get close to her. 2 years her senior, Julian came from a wealthy family and was the heir to the prestigious Wing On Group in Hong Kong. He was also known for his abilities and charm. To win her over, Julian cleverly used their shared faith as a connection, often inviting her to attend church with him. His true purpose was not prayer, but to create opportunities to approach and win her heart. Through these church visits and his witty humor, perfectly suited to Cammi's taste, Julian gradually won her affection. Not long after they officially began dating, Julian received news that he had been accepted into Harvard University. Though saddened by the prospect of being apart, Cammi understood that studying abroad was necessary for him to sharpen his skills and prepare to inherit the family business. Julian's departure only fueled Cammi's determination to develop her modeling career and gain admission to Oxford, so she could stand confidently beside him as his future wife. However, due to his strong possessiveness and fear that distance might harm their relationship, Julian wanted Cammi to join him in the United States. Longing to see her boyfriend, Cammi used the excuse of an overseas photo shoot to travel to America without telling her parents. It was her first time traveling alone to a foreign country. Yet, Cammi Ng felt no fear, only excitement at the thought of finally seeing her boyfriend. After being picked up at the airport by Julian Hui, she was easily persuaded to go with him to his private apartment. There, Julian suggested they be intimate. However, as a devout Christian, Cammi firmly refused any premarital relations, determined to save herself for her wedding night. She believed that saying no wouldn't affect their relationship, but Julian saw things very differently. No longer showing the patience he once had, Julian assumed that in the United States, where Cammi had no one else to rely on, she would have no choice but to submit. His true nature then emerged. He gave her sleeping pills, and while she was unconscious, he forced himself on her. When Cammi awoke, she realized not only that she had been assaulted, but also that Julian had locked her inside the apartment without food for 4 days and nights. During her captivity, she endured both starvation and repeated physical abuse. Shockingly, after all she had suffered, Cammi forgave Julian almost immediately after hearing his apologies and his justification that his actions were the result of loving her too much. She even convinced herself that his violence was an expression of affection. To her, a man of his privileged upbringing humbling himself to apologize erased her fear. From the outside, Cammi's naivety and vulnerability to manipulation may seem frustrating. But this story serves as a sobering warning. If anyone finds themselves in a similar situation, regardless of their relationship with the perpetrator, consent is the key factor. Without it, it is a crime. Do not stay silent. Do not believe any excuses, and seek help and contact the police immediately. Later, Julian repeatedly begged Cammi to keep the incident a secret, and she agreed. Incredibly, her feelings for him only deepened afterward. One casual remark from Julian, saying she was a bit chubby, left Cammi obsessed with her weight. This led to prolonged fasting, self-starvation, and the secret use of unregulated weight loss pills. The consequences of that single comment became even more severe when Cammi developed serious anxiety disorders tied to her body image. She often suffered from unprovoked tension, shortness of breath, and even fainting spells. Cammi later revealed on her personal Weibo account that her misuse of diet pills had caused serious side effects, including chronic insomnia. For years, she became dependent on sleeping pills just to get some rest. To cope with the anxiety from her sleeplessness, she began smoking, which eventually led to depression and an eating disorder. However, compared to the state of her health in the years to come, these issues were not yet life-threatening. At 19, Cammi Ng received her acceptance letter from Oxford University. Overjoyed, she shared the news with her boyfriend, Julian Hui. But instead of congratulations, she got an ultimatum. If she went abroad to study, they would break up. If she stayed, they would get married after he graduated. Julian made this demand because he was about to finish his degree and didn't want to lose control over his girlfriend, naively believing that his desire to marry her so soon was a sign of deep love. Cammi gave up her long-cherished dream of attending Oxford, a goal she had worked tirelessly to achieve. Though he had a strong controlling streak, Julian kept his word about marriage. In 2000, after graduating from Harvard University, he and the 22-year-old Cammi held a lavish wedding. During the cake-cutting ceremony, Julian stood to her left. When she asked why, he smiled and said, "My heart is on the left. That's also the side where I can protect the one I love." Those sweet words only deepened Cammi's belief that she was entering a happy marriage. Her father, however, was far less convinced. With his life experience, he knew the pitfalls of marrying into a wealthy family, where heirs are often surrounded by women and constant temptation. He quietly wondered if Julian's love would fade once he tired of Cammi. But he also knew his daughter wouldn't listen to such warnings. She was completely immersed in the romantic image Julian had painted for her. Sadly, his fears soon proved true. Marriage to Julian brought Cammi deep emotional wounds beyond what most people could imagine, and it came at the cost of her health. After the wedding, she gave up her modeling career and devoted herself entirely to being a housewife. However, with Julian earning only 15,000 Hong Kong dollars a month, she had to sell pieces of her jewelry just to make ends meet. The humiliation and frustration weighed heavily on her. The vast social class difference, combined with the rigid rules of her husband's family, gradually erased the smile she once carried so naturally. To make matters worse, Julian imposed his own set of rules. She had to maintain a weight under 45 kilograms, 99 pounds, was forbidden from pursuing any career, and had to cut all ties with the entertainment industry. Desperate to please him, Cammi adopted an extreme weight loss regimen. She limited her daily calorie intake to under 800, sometimes fasting completely, while combining intense workouts with diet pills and diuretics. This harsh routine left her frail and emaciated. What had once been mild premarital depression escalated into severe depression. Her health deteriorated so badly that she needed a cane to walk. Her weight dropped below 40 kilograms, 88 pounds. In her early 20s, her teeth began to loosen, her hair fell out in clumps, and her menstrual cycle stopped altogether. Yet even as her body broke down, Julian's control remained absolute, to the point that she had to fill out insurance forms under his watchful eye. With her health deteriorating and under the suffocating control of her husband, Cammi Ng gradually disappeared from the public eye. On the rare occasions she appeared, there was never a smile on her face, sparking rumors about trouble in her marriage. Both she and Julian Hui, however, remained silent in the face of speculation. In 2006, Julian Hui proposed a separation, claiming he needed to focus on his career. This decision came as a devastating blow to Cammi Ng, whose health was already in critical condition. Her depression worsened, and she later developed an intestinal obstruction, relying on intravenous nutrition to survive. The long-term damage from her extreme weight loss regime began to manifest violently, pushing her health to the brink. To stay alive, Cammi Ng underwent 7 major surgeries, including the removal of most of her stomach. Her weight plummeted to a shocking 22 kilograms, 48 pounds. When she reappeared in front of the media, the once beautiful model was now a frail, skeletal figure, so thin it was heartbreaking for those who knew her. During her illness, Julian Hui stayed briefly by her side before disappearing altogether. 2 years later, in 2008, he resurfaced, not to care for her, but to file for divorce, citing 2 years of separation. This time, Cammi Ng did not resist. She calmly agreed to end the marriage in May 2009. Upon divorce, she requested that Julian Hui cover her ongoing medical expenses. However, earning only $14,000 per month, he claimed he couldn't afford it and even relied on financial assistance from his family. He refused her request. Cammi Ng took the matter to court. Nearly a year later, in October 2010, she won the case. Julian Hui was ordered to pay her $21,000 per month in alimony. A year later, on October 16, 2011, she appealed for the amount to be raised to match his current salary, over $40,000 per month, and won again. In December 2011, the court approved her request, requiring Julian Hui to increase her monthly support to $40,500, along with a lump sum compensation of $1.5 million. This high-profile legal battle officially ended, closing the chapter on their tragic relationship. After the divorce, their lives took different paths. In May 2016, Julian Hui married model Jung Oi Khan, finding new happiness. Cammi Ng, on the other hand, had to heal from the deep scars left by an abusive marriage. She once vented her resentment on Weibo, saying that Julian Hui owed her an entire lifetime. But over time, with the support of her family and perseverance in treatment, Cammi Ng learned to forgive, not only her ex-husband, but also herself. When she heard news of his remarriage, she no longer felt the same pain. She even sent her blessings to Julian Hui and Jung Oi Khan on Weibo. Despite preparing for yet another major surgery, Cammi Ng remained strong-willed, refusing to let illness or the past control her life. She knew she could overcome any challenge as long as she believed in herself and never gave up hope. Cammi Ng once said she married Julian Hui out of love, sacrificing her chance to study at Oxford University and giving up her modeling career. She gave everything for love, only to lose it all when that love fell apart. Her story is a stark warning about the hidden dangers in love and marriage, especially when there is a power and status imbalance. It underscores the importance of independence and self-reliance, never losing yourself for anyone. Loving yourself, investing in personal growth, and having your own dreams are essential. That way, no matter what happens, you can still stand firmly on your own 2 feet. It also highlights the need to stay alert to red flags in relationships and to speak up or seek help when necessary. Never remain silent in the face of abuse, whether physical or emotional. What do you think of Cammi Ng's story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow more intriguing true crime cases. See you in the next video.